Hey everybody, Ed Homewood. I hope everyone's doing well today. Welcome back to the channel. I hope today's video is interesting for you. This product is fascinating for me. Really is an interesting product. It is the Aiyima HYFIOO, I think that's how it's pronounced, DM100 music streamer. So do me a favor, please. Sit back, relax, and we'll get going on this video. So what is the Aiyima HYFIOO DM100? Well, it's a $530 digital music streamer. It is not a DAC. And I gotta tell you, the DM100 is an impressive first entry into high-end digital streaming. Aiyima has really knocked it out of the park. It offers a very feature-rich package, very competitive price, I think at $530. And from the moment you see it, touch it, feel it, it really gives you this impression of really high quality. The brushed aluminum chassis feels very solid, well-built, got a beautiful 5.5-inch high definition LCD touch screen. It is large, it's bright, and it does one thing that I really like. For me, when I'm sitting in my listening chair, I like what they call what I call a 15-foot interface, and that is I'm 15 feet away from this thing, and I want to be able to kind of see what it's doing. Some displays are good at that, some are not. Obviously with this, it's a big enough display that it's sort of readable from there, but you also have your tablet, and then it's got a party piece. So, you know, obviously I can interact with the tablet. But one thing I think that's really cool is it has an HDMI out, and I can take the signal from that, and I can have on my big screen exactly what's on the tablet or on the front panel of this up on my 55-inch TV. And so when I'm sitting, you know, I think I'm 15 or 17 feet away from the screen, I can see it perfectly. I can see the album art. I can interact with it. We're going to go through the software a little bit, and I'm going to do a little bit of a deep dive. We're going to look at the front, the back, the inside, like I normally do. And again, just a kind of an overview on the software, because it could be an entire video on its own, but this thing really impressed me a ton. Well, this is my Samsung Android tablet, and it's an Android-based interface. It's very straightforward, and while it's certainly not flawless, this is their first attempt, and there's going to be refinements and updates. I think I've already had one update already. You know, it's a very, very promising, very encouraging start. The DM100 gives you access to all the popular music streaming services: Tidal, Qobuz, Amazon Music, Apple, Spotify, a bunch of other ones that I'm not familiar with. It allows playback from external hard drives or NAS drives, and even has an M2 SSD slot that'll take a 4 terabyte drive for, you know, for someone who maybe has a really large high resolution library. So from a build quality standpoint and features, again, as I mentioned, cast aluminum chassis, really, really beautiful construction, good touch and feel to it, nice knob feel on the little knobs, got detents in it. Now, it is obviously aimed at kind of audiophiles or tech enthusiasts. It's Android 14. It's got a very deeply customized version of Android 14. It has 8 GB of DDR4 RAM, 64 GB of storage, so really smooth, very seamless. You can also sideload stuff. As I mentioned, the HDMI output, that's huge. You saw that in the B-roll. It supports DSD, APE, DXD, WAV, FLAC, AIFF, ALAC, MP3, MQA, and other different kinds of formats. Pretty much anything you want to throw at, it'll play back for you. So among its features, it has an RJ45 jack on the back if you want to connect a network, but I use Wi-Fi, and it's got dual band Wi-Fi 6. It also does Bluetooth, which I'm not a big Bluetooth user, but it supports all the codecs all the way up through LDAC and LHDC. It has multiple outputs, you'll see when we look at the back. But the nice thing is you can do third-party APK installations, and that really kind of gives you some future-proofing. It gives you the ability to kind of expand it almost unlimitedly, I'll get it right, within Android 14. But it's also got some really cool features sonically as well. So one of its cool audio features is built-in audio upscaling, and that you can use that for any lower resolution tracks that you might have or stream. It also supports external CD drives and playback copy functionality, giving new life to obviously physical media connections. It has intelligent file management with automatic scanning, sorting, and queue tracking. It will support an external hard drive, a NAS, or a built-in drive. It also will do DLNA and Apple AirPlay. It's got a bunch of really cool features. We'll talk about a few of them when we get into the software. You know what? I think right now what we need to do is we need to look at the front, the back. We're going to go inside real quick, and then I'm going to give you an overview of the app. Here we are looking at the front panel of the DM100. You got a nice volume encoder. Now it is disabled, so when I turn it, you'll see it says it's disabled. I'm only using this as a streamer. I'm not using it as a preamp, although you could if you wanted to, although it doesn't connect directly to an amplifier. It would only attenuate the signal going into your DAC. It has a power button here. You can put it in standby or power it off. And again, you can see very, very smooth operation. There's some shortcut buttons here. Now, right now I'm playing something in title. We'll come out to it and I can enter title, or if I want to, I can go in and we can do VU meters, and I've got a bunch of different choices on VU meters. We'll do a little bit deeper dive on this when I show you on the tablet. But anyway, that's that. And we can go ahead and enter title, and it'll bring up the album artwork and song I'm playing. So that's a look at the front panel. And again, we'll go into the app a little deeper when I can record off my tablet. So let's do this. Let's spin it around and take a look at the back of the unit. Well, here we are looking at the back panel of the DM100. Master power switch, IEC power socket, our Bluetooth Wi-Fi antennas, RJ45, jack for wired network, update button, basically reset, and it'll reach out and do an on-air update. Type-C and USB Type-A, input for hard drives, whatever storage. USB out to your DAC, that's a neat feature. HDMI out to your big screen or external monitor, really nice. SPDIF-on Toslink, SPDIF-on coax, really nicely full featured. Yes, it lacks an I2S, but at this price, I think that's an awful lot to ask for. I think you're getting so much other value. Now, I did try to look into opening this thing up. I'm not going to be successful. So I will try to find a picture of the inside of the unit and insert it. But other than that, we're all done. Let's talk about the software now. Well, here we are looking at the home screen for the Aiyima DM100. And as you can see, you've got what's called Music Center, which brings up a bunch of different things like DLNA, QPlay, which I'm not familiar with, AirPlay, obviously apps that you might have loaded. I only use Tidal and Qobuz. I didn't use Spotify in this. CD Play, CD Rip, and then some other stuff like Dropbox and things like that. So if we go back to the main screen, then you got File Browser. Now I don't have a hard drive connected to it right now, but you can see we can access hard drive. And again, this is going to kind of be a quick overview. We can look at album, and then again, that will be what's in your hard drive, should it be there. You can choose your mode. How do you want to play it? You know, do you want to use USB SPDIF output, DSD? Do you want to convert DSD to PCM? Do you want to do Bluetooth? Those types of things are available there. And then my apps are apps that you can load. So I loaded Chrome, so I can do a Chrome browser. I have Spotify, but again, it's running Spotify on the Android tablet. This will interface with it, no problem. And you can see all the different things that are available there. Then let's go back to the home screen again. Then we have our settings, and that gives us the ability to, and from an audio standpoint, I've disabled the front end audio. I can make it a preamp if I want to. I don't use it that way. I can set a maximum volume limit. I can do upsampling if I want to, and I can choose, you know, whatever I want as far as upsampling goes, and I can sample up to 176.4 or 192. It'll automatically do that for you, but I don't do that because I don't upsample typically. Sample rate display, switching, so forth, channel test, play folders consecutively again in your hard drive, display brightness, resolution on the HDMI output, which is it ran fine on my full 4K display. Network issues, shows you your network connections. Control, you can scan the QR codes to download an app. Now this would you be doing it from the front panel screen on the unit. And what you can't see is this is all being mirrored on the unit right next to me there. And then of course some general stuff, what language, how do you want to input function keys, things like that. And then an update, you know, what's your system? It's running obviously an ARM Cortex quad-core processor and update Android 14. So let's go back to the home screen. Now you'll see I have Tidal in the upper corner here because I'm running some stuff from Tidal. So I can enter into Tidal. It shows the output is SPDIF. On the upper right-hand corner, upper left, it shows VU meter and bypass. So if I want to, I can go to a VU meter, and there's lots of different options. That's the second option, sorry, third option. I gotta leave my finger on there longer. Fourth option, fifth option, sixth option, and last option, which is the one I wound up using most of the time. But let's go ahead and go into Tidal. Now this will look very familiar to anyone who's used to using Tidal. All your Tidal stuff is there, all your artists, all your albums, your tracks, recently played stuff, whatever you want's all right there. You can pick a playlist if you want to. We can look at the particular tracks. We'll play that track there. And it'll come down on the bottom screen. You'll see if I touch that where it says it brings up the album art, all different kinds of stuff. You know, I can share it. I can, you know, go backward track, forward track, whatever I want to do from there. So again, now along the right-hand side, you'll see some buttons. Up top is shut everything down. The next button down is to send a text if you want to. I don't know why you would. I don't understand that. Maybe some social media thing. Music, you know, that'll, again, we're in title already, so that was there. The square button is just brings you to different screens. So that's kind of like on your Android phone, you know, bringing up what's open, and then you can close from there if you want to. We'll leave it on that. The round one brings me back to the home screen. And then again, title in the upper center there brings it back in, enter title, and we're back to the music that's playing. And then the left arrow brings me back into title. So that's kind of an overview of the DM100 and its software application. Again, it's pretty simple to use. It's very straightforward. I like it a lot. I think it works quite well. And I know there'll be some good updates and some real positive enhancements to it. And then I'm sure there'll be some firmware updates on the player. And again, I think at 530 bucks, this little box is really, really good and gets a high recommendation from me. So anyway, let's finish up this review and get out of here. Well, as you can see, this thing is pretty impressive. It's well screwed together, and I think the app, it's really good right out of the box, but it's going to improve with time. There's going to be updates. I'm providing feedback. Other users, I'm sure, will provide feedback, and they'll work on it and fine tune it and get it even better. But for a first effort, I think it's really amazing. Now, to test the unit, I didn't bother with it on the desktop. I threw it into the big room and I put it on all the expensive stuff I've got. I mean, literally all of the best stuff I have. And it performed really, really well. Some of the DACs I used were the Gishelli J2S. I used the Live Harmony. I used my Singzer SDA6 Pro 2, which is my Delta Sigma reference DAC. I used the FIO Warmer. I used a bunch of different stuff, and it performed really, really well. And it sounded excellent. Well, as I mentioned, sonically, the DM100 is a real winner. Paired with a good quality DAC, it delivers clear, detailed sound with excellent dynamics and great timing. Now, being a standalone streamer means you can pair it with whatever DAC you like the sound of. And that's a key thing. A lot of units, all-in-ones, you're stuck with a DAC that's built into it. I mean, you can output to another DAC, but if you just spend $1,000 on a streamer, are you going to want to go out and spend another $500 on a DAC? Well, with this, at $530, $500 DAC, you're in at the same price, but you get to pick the DAC. And I think that's an important thing. You know, across all the configurations that I tried it delivered excellent musicality, solid bass response, smooth highs. Now, if I compare it to what has been my benchmark under a $500 or so reference streamer, that's the Cambridge MXN10, sonically, they're really close, almost near as makes no difference, the same. Now, where Cambridge, I think, has a bit of an edge just because of maturity. Remember, Cambridge has been doing streamers for 15 years. So StreamMagic software is very basic, it is very simple to use, it is very good for someone who's non-technical, great power. No, it doesn't have as many streaming services or as many options, but I think it's much simpler to use. Now, this kind of splits the difference between StreamMagic and the Weem and the Ever Solo stuff, which can be way too complicated and have too many options. As far as like comparing this to Weem, this is a far better product than anything Weem makes as far as I'm concerned. Sonically, user interface wise, no, it's not as mature, but it will get there. I just like the form factor. I just like the way I interact with it. I just love the way it sounds. Now, granted, Weem has room correction. I'm sorry. This not having room correction, I see it as a plus. EQ-based room correction, which is all the Weem room correction is rarely a substitute for good setup anyway. So again, to compare kind of the Cambridge Audio MXN10, it's a much simpler interface. It has fewer streaming sources, but it's a really polished app and user interface. Weem Ultra, you know, the hardware feels far less robust. I don't believe the sonics are anywhere near as good as they are on the Aiyima piece. The feature set is much more gimmicky. Room correction is, I think, a real gimmick. Anyway, by contrast, the DM100 is robust, flexible, and scalable. It caters to both audiophiles and tech-savvy users who want to personalize their system. Well, as we summarize things, let's do a couple of pros and cons sort of things. I think from pros standpoint, it's an attractive, high quality, really well built, got a beautiful, large, readable display, very responsive with touch, although I'm not a big touch user because it's going to be 15, 16 feet away from me. And because of that HDMI output is huge for me. Lets me go to a secondary display, my 55-inch, really, really nice. And it may be a big deal for you. It really is for me. It does support an internal SSD. It does support NAS drives. It does support, obviously, cloud streaming. It does allow third-party APK installation. So again, you've got a little bit of future-proofing built into it. I think sonically it sounds really good, and I'll tell you right now, it competes against some of the more expensive and some of my favorite streamers, and I've got some really expensive streamers in right now for review. This thing held its own. Now, granted, a lot of that depends on the DAC you're pairing it with, but if this is not giving the DAC a good signal, garbage in, garbage out, really. It has, I think, a good set of goes in's and goes out is on it, and good high-resolution audio support, and a very smooth kind of multi-format playback, and really good file management, because I do plug a hard drive into it, or did plug a hard drive into it, and it used it just fine, and found everything just fine, and indexed everything just fine. Now, cons. The Android app and the UI, obviously, it's the first go-around. It's going to need some refinement. It needs some refinement. It will get some refinement. There will be updates, I know. And I think it holds a lot of promise. Again, it is a streamer only, no built-in DAC. To me, that's a bonus, because I'm not hamstrung with a DAC I didn't get to choose. And again, while it lacks, EQ room correction, I think that's a gimmick. I don't, obviously that matters to some users. For me, this not having it shows that they're paying attention and really just focusing on sound quality. Well, final verdict. You know what? The Aiyima HYFIOO, I think that's how you pronounce it, DM100, I think is an amazing first effort from Aiyima. Again, at $530, it's, I think, very compelling. Sonically, it is excellent. And if you're someone looking for a very flexible, high-quality streamer with some unique features like the HDMI output and expandable storage, although that's not completely unique to this piece, it has a combination of performance, flexibility, and future-proofing, I think, that makes it a standout absolutely in this price category, this 500-ish or so price category. And I'm confident that Aiyima will continue to refine the experience and continue to improve the user interface and the unit itself, because you can do firmware upgrades. I think this is just the beginning of what could become a really highly coveted and very high-performance line of streamers. Really, really good. Big, high recommendation from me. Well, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you'd consider giving me a like and your subscription. I would appreciate that. Maybe you'd consider ringing the bell to get notified the next time I put out a video. If there's some information in this video you think someone you know might benefit from, please consider sharing it. Now, in the spirit of full disclosure, there will be an affiliate link to this product in the pinned comment and in the video description. Also in the pinned comment and in the video description is a link to channel membership, should you be so inclined to join the channel. There is no music in this review, but there is a link to the Community Post playlist. There's some wonderful music there. Check it out. There are some additional affiliate links in the video description. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think? Are you looking for a streamer? I really like this product, and I think it's superior to really anything I've reviewed, tested, played with, heard, or own under $1,000. Maybe with the exception of just the fact that the Stream Magic software is so easy. This is going to get there. I'm pretty confident about it. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on all of that. Yeah, I've covered all the bases on the Aiyima HYFIOO DM100. Please like, subscribe, comment, follow me on Instagram if you want to. My name is Ed Homewood. This is the Old Guy Hi-Fi channel, and please find some time today to put on the music you love and just sit back and relax. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I really hope you have a great day.